All right, how's everybody doing today? It's such a beautiful day today. I hope you guys are really taking advantage of the sunshine. Today is Thursday, and you're not going to get this until Friday. So, but I just want to let you know, I hope you guys really took advantage of the sun today. My wife and I just got back from saying happy birthday to some people that we've known for quite a long time. It's a milestone birthday. We're not going to tell you what year it is or how old she is, but it was good to see people. Good to see people that we've only seen through screens the last couple of weeks. And
All we could do was drive
we could
by.
just drive by and say hi and, honk our horns. But it was good, though. It was good to see their faces and their smiles. There's geese there, and there's a loon in the middle of the lake. I don't know if you can see that or not.
Hard to see.
Maybe not. But anyways, yeah. My cameraman's might need to fire her. Maybe we can have the cat or the dog do it, but that's okay. All right. So, like I said, I hope you guys are able to get outside on days like today. Don't worry about schoolwork. Worry about your mental health. Okay. None of the stuff and I shouldn't say this too loud, so let's keep this between me and you. But a lot of stuff we're giving you is just review. So it's just sharpening those skills. Make sure you don't lose those skills.
Yes.
So it's nothing new. Priority is your family. Priority is your mental health. Priority is your loved ones. So take advantage of that. Take advantage of this beautiful time to be outside. And the spring gets warmer, and hopefully we can put this back there. I've heard read another report today that Wisconsin is starting to show signs of flattening the curve, and hopefully that's true. And I just hope that you guys are all doing well. I really do miss you guys. I was able to get into my classroom today. It made me sad because that Friday after parent-teacher conferences, I had the schedule all set up and everything like that. Everything was good, and to walk into my classroom today to be able to pick up a few things was really sad because the calendar was up, everything was ready to go. I had handouts for you guys to take home on Monday, and I walked in there. It was sad, and seeing the pictures of our class here made me smile. It's all the stuff that we've gone through, and like the walk to the beach and reading buddies, Stone Soup. Having Lance Allen come in and talk about what he does and just other fun stuff we've done. And Marcus Handel coming in and AJ Ellis holding that parrot and how scared he was holding that bird. So it's just a lot of fun stuff we've done this year, and I hope you guys think back about that and think back about the fun stuff we have and not focus on the positive stuff instead of the negative stuff. So, all right, like I said, we're going to start off the middle part of chapter 8. Now he's thinking about going to Grand Rapids, or not Grand Rapids. He's thinking about going to Chicago. So, all right, so we'll pick it up here. Shucks, there's some folks who have you running your mouth before you know what you're doing. I quit talking and acted like I was having a real hard time drying the tin can she just handed me. What'd she tell you, bud? I looked at Deza Malone and figured I'd never seen her again in my life, so I kept shooting off my mouth. She would tell me every night before I went to sleep that no matter what happened, I could sleep knowing that there had never been a little boy anywhere, anytime who was loved more than she loved me. She told me that as long as I remembered that, I'd be okay. And you knew it was the truth? Just as much as I know my name's Bud, not Buddy. She said, don't you have no other kin here in Flint? No. I guess I can't blame you for wanting to ride the rails. My mama says these poor kids on the road all alone are like dust in the wind. But I guess you're different, aren't you, Bud? I guess you sort of carry your family around inside of you, huh? I guess I do. Inside my suitcase, too. She said, so you've been staying in an orphanage since your mama died? Well, what makes you say that? Well, you're kind of skinny, but I could tell by the way you talk and the way you act that you haven't been out on the road for very long. You still look very young. I said, shucks, I'm not all that young. I'm going to be 11 on November 14th, and I'm not skinny, I'm wiry. Some folks think I'm a hero. So, Mr. Hero, we're the same age, but you have been staying in an orphanage. I've been staying in a home. My daddy says being on the road ain't fit for a dog, much less a kid. How come you don't just go back to your orphanage? She started touching my hand too much again. Deza Malone seemed like she was all right, so I came clean with her. Don't tell no one, but I lit out from a foster home, so I'm on the lam. And I wouldn't go back to the home, even if I could. It's getting so there's too many kids in there. So, that's better than being cold and hungry all the time and dodging the railroad police. What do you mean? You don't think they just let people jump on the trains, do you? Well, I guess I hadn't thought about it. See, I knew you were too nice to have been out on the road. You're going to have a bad surprise tomorrow morning. Yeah, that won't bother me too much. Deza says, oh, yeah, I forgot you're a hero to some folks. When Deza smiled, a little dimple jumped up in her brown cheek. I didn't answer. I just kept drying tin cans. We got to the last 4 or 5 tin can plates, and Deza said, "You ever kiss a girl at the orphanage?" Uh-oh. Are you kidding? No. Why? Are you afraid of girls? You must be kidding. She said, okay, and closed her eyes, then mooshed her lips up close and leaned close to me. Dang, if I didn't kiss her, she'd think I was scared of girls. And if I did kiss her, she might blab, or Bugs might see me and tell strangers about what happened. I looked down to the creek to where Bugs and the other boy were still splashing the water. It was dark enough that I didn't think they could see us too good. I smooched my lips and smashed my face on Deza Malone's. We stuck like that for a hot second, but it felt like a long time. When I opened my eyes and pulled back, Deza kept hers closed and smiled. She looked down and stuck her hands in mine again, and this time I let her keep it deep there. I let her keep it there. She looked out at the creek and the woods on the other side and said, "Isn't this romantic?" I looked out to what she was talking about. The only thing I could see was the moon like a big egg yolk way up in the sky. You could hear the water and the sound of the mouth organ man playing a sad song back in Hooverville. I sneaked another peek at Deza's dimple. She said, "You hear that? That's Shenandoah. He's playing. Isn't it pretty?" I guess so. Do you know the words? Listen. It's been 7 long years since I've last seen her. Why, hey, you rolling river. Been 7 long years since last I've seen her. Way, hey, I'm bound away across the wide Missouri. I said, "Yep, that's a sad song." I didn't think he was pretty at all. She squeezed my hand and said, "Isn't it? It's about an Indian man and woman who can't see each other for 7 years. But in all that time, they still stay in love no matter what happens. It reminds me of my mother and father." Your dad's been gone for 7 years before? She looked out over the creek like the big eggy moon had her hypnotized. I pulled my hand from hers and said, "Well, that's just about it for the dishes." She smiled again. "Bud, I'll never forget this night." I didn't tell her, but I probably wouldn't forget it either. I practiced in the back of my hand before, but this was the first time I'd ever busted slob with a real live girl. We loaded all the dishes in the box and walked down to Bugs and the other kid. We put their dishes on top of ours and headed back. Bugs said, "How come you're looking so strange, Bud? You look like you've been chunked in the head with a rock." Deza Malone laughed, and for a second I thought she was going to rat me out. I said, "I don't know. I guess that song is making me kind of sad." Bugs said, "Yeah, it is kind of sad." Right before we got into the cardboard jungle, we passed the white people with the coughing baby at their own little fire. I said to Deza, "How come they're off alone? They aren't allowed to sit around the big fire because that baby's making so much noise?" Deza said, They've been invited, but my daddy said you got to feel sorry for them. All they're eating is dandelion green soup. They're broke. Their clothes are falling off of them. Their baby's sick, but when someone took them food and blankets, the men said, 'Thank you very much, but we're white people. We ain't in need of a handout.'" When we got back to the main fire of Hooverville, we put the dishes in another box. Deza made us turn them all upside down so if the rain got into them, they wouldn't rust. I went to the woman with my suitcase. It was in the same spot I left it, and the knots and the twine were the kind I tie. I said, "Thank you very much, ma'am." She said, "I told you not to worry." I went back to the big fire to sit with Bugs. The mouth organ man said, "I suppose you boys are going on that train tomorrow." I said, "The one for Chicago, sir?" He said, "That's the one." I said, "Yes, we are, sir." He said, "Well, you best get as much sleep as you can. It's supposed to be pulling out at 5:15, but you never know with these freights." We got in one of the shacks with some other boys. Bugs was snoring in 2 seconds, but I couldn't sleep. I opened my jackknife and put it under my blanket. I was thinking, Deza's mama was right. Someone who doesn't know who their family is like dust blowing around in a storm. They don't really belong any one place. I started wondering if going to California was the right thing to do. I might not know who my family was, but I knew that they were out there somewhere. And it seemed to make a whole lot more sense to think that they were somewhere around Flint instead of out west. I opened my suitcase to get my blanket. Even though I trusted the woman who guarded it for me, I checked to make sure everything was okay. I picked up the tobacco pouch that had my rocks in it and pulled the drawstring open. I shook the 5 smooth stones and looked at them. They'd been in the drawer after the ambulance took Mama away, and I had them ever since. Someone had took a pen or something and had writ on all 5 of them, but it was written in code, so I couldn't understand what they meant. One of them said Kentland, ILL, 51011. Another said Lou Guti in 51611. Then there was Sturgis M, 83012, and Gary IN 61312, and the last said one sent Flint M 81111. I put them back in their pouch and pulled the string tight. And then I pulled out the envelope that had the picture of the saggy pony at the Miss B. Gotten Moon Park. It was fine. Next, I counted the flyers again. All 5 were there. I slid all of them back except for the blue one. I held it up so I could catch some of the light from the big fire. I kept looking at the picture and wondering why this one bothered Mama so much. The more I thought about it, the more I knew this man just had to be my father. Why else would Mama keep these? I used a little trick to help me fall off to sleep. I pulled my blanket right up over my head and breathed in the smell real deep. After doing this 3 times, the smells of the shack in Hooverville were gone, and only the smell of the blanket was in my nose, and that smell always reminded me of Mama and how she used to read to me to sleep every night. I took 2 more breaths and pretended I was hearing Mama read to me about the billy goat's gruff, or the fox, or the grapes, or the dog that saw his reflection in the water, or some other story she checked out of the library. I could hear Mama's voice getting farther and further away as I imagined I was in the story, until finally her voice and the story all mixed into one. I learned that it was best to be asleep before Mama finished the story, because if she got done and I was still awake, she'd always tell me what the story was about. I never told Mama, but that always ruined the fun of the story. Shucks, here I was thinking I was just hearing something funny about a fox or a dog. And Mama spoiled it by telling me there were really lessons about not being greedy or not wishing for things you couldn't have. I took 2 more breaths and started thinking about the little hen that baked the bread. I heard, "Not I," said the pig. "Not I," said the goat. "Not I," said the big bad wolf. Then whoop, zoop, sloop. I was asleep. I started dreaming about the man with the giant fiddle. He was walking away and I kept calling him, but he couldn't look back. And the dream got a lot better. I turned away from where Herman E. Calloway was, and there stood Deza Malone. I told her, "I really like your dimple." She laughed and said, "See you in 7 years. Okay, so that's part 2 of chapter 8. We're going to finish up chapter 3. I will probably upload, or the end of chapter 8, I will probably upload all 3 videos tomorrow, so you guys got something to do for the weekend. So anyways, we're running out of baseball hats and baseball jerseys. So this last one, this team is called the Diamondbacks. And I want you to tell me what city and state they play in, the name of their stadium, and anything at all you might find interesting about the team or the... I just think it's a really cool logo with the snake and title, or wrapped around the baseball. They're not my favorite team, but I just thought this hat was really cool. As you can tell, I'm a huge baseball fan. So hope you guys are doing good. Get out, enjoy the sun, guys. School is secondary at this point. Worry about your mental health. Take care of each other. Parents, reach out to me anytime if you have any questions or if you need anything whatsoever. Okay, love you guys, and I will finish up chapter 8 tomorrow. Talk to you later.